Hello, this is Johnny Wright, and welcome to Family Talk. Wondering why I'm saying all this. It's pretty much I've heard about family issues. The family that I've heard far, mainly ones like caring fathers or not caring fathers or mothers, so on and so forth, or surrogate families. If you've had that before, or I've seen a lot of families tear apart, been teared, or certain issues, hatred, lust, things that have never been mentioned on YouTube, or probably have been, but not in detail. Have you ever had that feeling like you don't have a caring father figure? Those of you who are without a father or were without a father and wish that a father figure would actually show up and take care or you love on you, mainly do things that you wanted, like having other things, mainly answer your questions, maybe even talk a bit about it. Maybe you've had that feeling of, why won't he answer? Why won't he talk to me? Maybe you have a father in the army and you want him back. Obama has been doing some good things, but in other people's point of view, he has not. I agree with the people who say he's not, because so far Obamacare, not a good strong suit. Other things I will not mention, but this is about family, and mainly, have you ever had a father or figure, but they weren't actually a true father figure? Maybe someone said they loved you, but they didn't actually show it or give the action that you wanted. Maybe even have a person to say it's okay. Maybe you had to turn to your mother, and maybe that mother or wasn't there for you either. Some people have drug issues, alcohol issues, other things. Mainly, if you've had that, it's not your fault, and it's not anybody's fault either. It's stress of life. Life happens for a reason, and mainly when you ask yourself a certain question, is it my fault? The answer, no. It's not your fault that your family probably separated or had issues. It's issues. Pretty much stress, mainly other things you've seen in things that you're not used to, like your father all of a sudden saying stuff that you've never heard him say before, or to your mother something, or the other way around. Sometimes it's just their way of relieving stress. If they can't, and whenever they separate, it's probably trying to get some space, get it at family bondage back together again. Most tend to stay separate, but whenever you put them back together again, you end up learning or about your whenever you. Well, sometimes whenever I did, I intervened. I went and asked questions that usually kids don't ask. Like, is it my fault? And the parent says no. Pretty much, if you go ask the parent, and they'll honestly say it's not your fault, unless you're a troublemaker of the family. But that's besides the point. In my point of view, family is kind of like you stick together, you won't break apart. But sometimes you need that. But sometimes glue needs air or in space to dry and become hard and stable. Without the feature of a family, you wouldn't actually have a family. Pretty much you've heard the song "Blood." water, right? If not, I guarantee you it would go to a music grade or imfreeskull.com, type in blood thicker than water, and you'll find Hey Brother by Averick, which is Hey Brother. It states it's Hey Brother, do you know, pretty much certain lyrics, but Hey Sister, do you know that blood thicker than water? Pretty much sweet in water, sweet. Pretty much I get the lyrics mixed up, but anyways, in my point of view, family is family. Whether they be separate, be apart, the father should still care about their online. But anyways, if you feel like it's your fault, it's not your fault at all. Some people will blame themselves, cut themselves over it, because they think if they could have done something to change that parent's mind, to change the parent from divorce to staying with the parent, that it could have been a better way. In my point of view, it's not your fault. You never know what's going to happen. When you lemons, you make lemonade. Or in Duck Dynasty's case, if your lemons ends, put it in your iced tea, and the ink Lord, you're Southern. Anyways, if you think of anything that I could have done this, or if I could have done that, maybe we'd still be a family. You still are a family. It's just you're not broken. It's just your family's been. Well, your mother and father are trying to work things out in their own way. In my point of view, if you want to blame something, don't blame yourself. Blame stress. That's what a leader in causes of divorces and parent fatigue. Mainly, there's stress in life, and parents just have their certain ways of coping with it. And besides, if they're not fighting and they're pretending they're okay, and actually they're probably not okay, just they need to let it out. They need to vent it out. As I said, it's not your fault. It's not even the parents' fault. It's everyday life stress. That's what that causes a family to fall apart. If you didn't have stress, you'd have, well, what they call ignorant bliss. And ignorant bliss is not a true coping mechanism. Ignorance is just a way of saying, okay, I've given up goodbye life, and that's not what you need to be. You need to be automatically thinking of the positives, not the negatives. The positives in life, like so. Hey, I've still got one person in my family, and the other person in my family is still there, but separate. Because so far, here's the mother, here's the father. Maybe separate, but still they're a part of your life. Therefore, they're still all together through you. You are their child. Therefore, they're going to care about you and what's best for you. But at the same time, it's not going to help them to get back together or in harmony. If you tried that, like app, which has been remastered twice, you would automatically know, like the old. I don't know if it's the Olsen twins. No, probably some. All I know is the AU back then. It was the Olsen twins. It got them together there. Now it's Ashley and I don't know if it's Tisdale or something. But anyway, the movie shows about the kids try to get their parents back together because they don't like the evil stepmother. In my point of view, there are parents that care about you, and also on further topics. Say you have a stepmother in life or a stepfather in life, and you are about to have a kid. That doesn't mean they don't care or less about you. They care about you and the child equally. It just means you're going to have a baby brother or sister, and you're going to be either bigger sibling in life to take care of them. In other states of facts, you want to know my opinion? Go through every child and parenting book that the parents have. They're based on other parents basing their child issues in life, and pretty much you'll know, okay, this parent is doing it, but why can't my parent do it the way they want to do it? Pretty much the reason why that is, they probably don't have a clue on what they need to do. Sometimes a little help from the child will do. Like, say, answering a few questions, like if you're a parent, ask your child, are you okay? Have you had any problems at school? Some parents, as I've heard, do not do that. Some parents just say, "Oh, it'll be fine," but just brush it off. So pretty much that's how their parents taught them to cope with it. But in actuality, do different things. They can choose to do what their parents taught them through example of what they did to them, or they can do it differently in their own way. In my point of view, parents should be able to still be parents to those kids, not just say, okay, reach this age, out you go. Because so do that, you're going to end up pushing your child into thinking they are not important, when in actuality, they are important. And sometimes kids get the idea that, okay, my parents don't really care about me. Pretty much, they did care about you. They put up with a lot of things. Say you threw a temper tantrum because somebody stole something of yours. That parent automatically went into the other person's parents, talked to them, probably found out what happened, and you don't like the end result, but either way, you still have parents that care. They do things their own way. They have their own measurements, things, methods, you name it. They come up with their own ways without interfering with your life to a point. But think about it. If you had a parent that interfered with your life all the time, monitored you, kept an eye on you nonstop, wouldn't that kind of annoy you? To a point, yes, it would. To another point, some kids would rather have that than not having a caring parent at all. Caring parents at all ended up with drug abuse issues. Even a child from a show of Dr. Phil automatically lost both his parents because he was with issues, medicine, and he became a drug addict and a drug seller. It was his supposed way of coping with it. You shouldn't have to do that. You should be able to go to your parents, talk to them, and parents, if you're listening and watching this, or soon to be parents, listen to your child. Ask them what's going on. Do not just say, okay, you just need to leave them alone. If they're having troubles and they have attention deficit disorder or some type of attention deficit, you need to pay attention to them. It will automatically what you do or say. I ought to know. I'm one of those, and I have to live with my mother because of certain issues. If I lived out in the real world, I wouldn't be, well, speaking in front of you all right now, live, talking and saying stuff. My years, life throws a lot of things at you. And once you throw away either at and tell them you're done with them, in their point of view and eyes, if they are like me, it's going to be like, what did I do wrong? Don't you love me anymore? When in actuality, yes, you do love them, but you're tired of them, as you would probably think of it, mooching off you. Me, if I had money, all the money in the world, I'd pay every debt off and help my family, which I plan on doing no matter what, but that depends on you. Pretty much, I used to have a job, and I still lived with my mother because rent was cheaper, and pretty much, if you look anywhere in the Missouri district, rent is not cheap. New York is not cheap. Any state, there's not a cheap rent area. They want money because of all the tax issues. Family, as I've said, family is a glue. It sticks together. It's stronger and thicker, and blood's thicker than water, and is not as sweet. Blood is thicker, and water may be sweeter, but blood is thicker. If you automatically put your thoughts aside and think, what have I done to help my child? What have I done to help my parents? Or both sides. You would automatically finally come to an agreement and understand that, hey, I am not perfect. My child's not perfect. My parents are probably not perfect if you think that. But some parents are still learning. Parents and learning about life itself. If you go to your parent and ask them, they will tell you life is not easy. The world is not easy. It's not as friendly as the parent. It's cruel. It is, how do you say, a stress and hair-pulling experience. But if you go with your parents and learn what you can and learn to accept the fact that you need this and them, you'll automatically come to an agreement. Understand that, hey, my life's not perfect. Neither's my mom's, neither's my dad's, or stepdad's, or stepmom. You name it. Life's not perfect. Perfect. If they say that their life's perfect, go ahead, let them think that, but don't tell them that. It's going to pretty much bite you in the rear. But in my case, you either what is going on, or try to find out what's going on, and, well, go for the one thing that it feels right to you. Be you a Christian or aristocrat or something. Pretty much, Christians actually try their best too. There's Christian families, there's non-Christian families. Christian families try to honor the Lord's word. Other families that aren't Christian have their own different ways. Pretty much, I met this one guy. He said, the only thing if I could change would be the fact of my parents' behavior towards me. If I could have just once felt loved by them, I would have been happy to stay with them instead of running away and going to a foster home or a surrogate family home, aka foster family. But in his own words, he became, because his family was drug addicts. He didn't like the fact of it. He pretty much he was born with birth defects, issues, and other things. And other people laughed thought he was in the right attention. They thought he was just trying to get attention for himself, when in actuality he had attention deficit problems and other things, attention deficit disorders that I cannot explain due to the fact that he hasn't explained it either. This was where he was in a high school that I was in. The high school will remain nameless due to the fact that of certain confidentiality. He writes, anyways, he had issues. He had family problems. Did his parents actually care? Some people in the legal system would say no. They did not care because they did not take care of their child or properly take care of him. They abused drugs around him, and he ran away just to get away from that, and ended up in a different home after being called a runaway. When he explained his story to the foster family people, they automatically wondered what was happening. They automatically started thinking, okay, maybe either is a child that has family problems. They went into this family, found out that they were crack and meth addicts and other drugs that they were using and selling, which gave court and legal system rights to pull him out of that family and find him a better family. He found a better family, got what he wanted, and so far he's still got issues, but at least he has a better family now. As I said, family is blood, and blood is thicker than water, but whenever it comes to bad family, you need to separate from that. That I will agree to and condone to. But don't go and run away. Just call the abuse line and tell them what's going on. Only and only if your family is abusing you. If you're not, and they're trying their best, and try to get a better understanding. If you have a better understanding, the better a chance that you'll stick together. And the better you have a chance that you stick together, you automatically that you found of coping with it. If not, try and ask questions. Ask them what's going on. Is it my fault? And if it is, what can I do to stop it? Is there any way of saying sorry to them without overusing that word? And by that I mean the word sorry over and over and over. Can you find something like a family member that will understand that's the problem? Talk to them. Ask them a question. If you have problems in school, tell your parents. It's just let them know. The better chance that you have of letting your family know, the better chance they might have a solution to it. Some families will automatically care. Some, as you would probably think, don't care. When in actuality, they do. They just have their different ways of showing it. And in my many years, mainly whenever I was with my father, which was at the age of 18, before I found out all and divorce happened because he had issues. Still doesn't pay any attention to us. And by us, I mean my brothers and my brothers. My sister, on the other hand, is my stepsister, but I still call her my sister no matter what because she's in my family, and I don't care. Hear what people would say. Oh, but he's your stepfather. That makes her your stepsister. And I'm like, no, she's still my sister. And Another sister of mine that lives with her mother, the stepfather, or his ex-wife, aka my stepfather, her shows who's caring for his kid, but he's go on as son and still habits when children are in well around it and not knowing that what some parents do is wrong and the parent doesn't and correct themselves on that, it leads to issues. Issues are something that parents need to also keep an eye on. Should they say a bad word and the kid catches on to it and thinks it's okay, which this is for Christian families, if your child hears you say a swear word or some type of cuss word and you don't condone to it, you said it, they're going to think it's okay. Hey, my parents said it, so can I. When in actuality, they can't because you don't condone it. So you need to correct yourself and say, I'm sorry, but I said something I shouldn't have. And it's not okay for you to say either. Because so far, if it doesn't get corrected soon, it could lead to a parenting issue, mainly other parents saying, your child just said this word in front of mine, and I don't condone to it, and if you don't care, if you're a person that's not Christian or raised, but your parents raised you, pretty much you are like, so, but in actuality, your kid can go for it, your family is going to have issues down the road. Mainly, as I've said, this is family talk. Pretty much, I'm talking about families, what it lies in it, issues, concerns. This is also a Q&A, but I won't see anybody wanting to ask questions. So my question is, do you want to know what your child thinks? Because so far, I'm not a therapist. I'm not a child specialist. I'm just a person who has heard from other kids who wonder, does their parent care? The question and they ask me is that, and my answer, of course they care. They just show it in a different way. It's not your fault that they're having issues in the family. It's not your fault that your parents are probably having a divorce over something. It's probably their way of clearing the air, trying to get things fixed. It's not your fault. It's not anybody's fault, but stress itself, as I've said before, and will say again, stress is the main cause of some divorces. Parents think in actuality it's that person's fault, or it's that person's fault. Pretty much, in actuality, it's not one's fault, but stress. Stress is what's causing you to think irrationally. Irrational thought leads to mess ups, uncondoned behavior that you don't like. Everybody has their ups and downs. If you think you don't, one way or another, good Lord willing or not, there's even karma that will get you to think otherwise, because so far life is of ups, downs, and showing you, hey, your life's simple. It's not easy. It's not. Oh, it's so simple. I can snap my fingers and do away with it. So far, in my point of view, talk to your kids, talk to your parents. Pretty much, family will understand more than friends would. Friends will automatically come with conclusions of certain things. Your family, on the other hand, will automatically ask, and they will, and to a point, if they don't understand to your point of level, try and simplify it for them. talk. If your kids don't understand it in your point of view, simplify it for them too. So, in my point of view, if a kid can't understand their parent and their parent can't understand their kid, there's got to be a problem, and that problem is communications. You've got to communicate with your child. You've got to communicate with your parents. If you don't communicate, you're going to end up with miscommunication, disaster, pretty much family inactuality. It's not that. It's just miscommunication, stress, you name it, peer pressure. Mainly children are dealing with peer pressure in school, life, work, which is also for both child and teen and adult. You name it, there is pressure in everything. In my point of view, to deal with pressure and peer pressure, you need to calm down. You need to think. Ask your child, are they okay? And if you're a child asking your parent if they're okay and they don't want to talk about it, let them calm down. And if they do want to talk about it, let them. And pretty much, if your child doesn't want to talk about it, let them calm down. Go away. Then ask them again. Talk about it. Then talk about it. There are things in this world that cause so much issue. Mainly, you think, my child doesn't understand me. Well, it's probably because of a communication error. If it's a communication error, then you got to think, what's going on? Now, before I close this segment up of Family Talk by JRW, aka me, Johnny R.C. Wright, I'm going to ask you this, and challenge you to do this. Talk to your child, talk to your parent, ask them what you can do to commonly go and figure out what's the problem and get at a better understanding with your child and with your family member, aka your mother, your father, or your mama, or your dad. Pretty much, or papa if you prefer. Pretty much, if you got a problem, go to your family. Friends are going to help you to a point, but your family is going to help you a whole lot better. Thank you for listening, and have a pleasant and blessed day. Oh, and yes, I am a Christian, so God bless you all. I don't know what you're saying.